Come to order. Can the clerk please call the roll?
I'll call the roll, beginning with Daisy Castro.
Present.
You, Jonathan Bruns. Linka Wright. BJ Fadum. Sylvia Alvarez. Freddie Sidbury.
Here.
Andrew Ditlipson. Ramon Martinez.
Here.
Enedina Cardenas.
Present.
And Gloria Collins.
Hi, I'm here.
You have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the orders of the day?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Ramon. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thanks, Freddie.
I'll call the roll again. Daisy Castro.
Sorry, what was that?
To approve the orders of the day. Thank you. I'll skip those who are absent. Linka Wright.
Aye.
Freddie Sidbury.
Aye.
Ramon Martinez.
Aye.
I see Andrew Ditlipson is here. Would you vote to approve the orders of the day? Hi, Andrew. We're voting to approve the orders of the day. Would you vote to approve it?
Yes.
Thank you. Enedina Cardenas.
Yes.
Thank you. Gloria Collins.
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you.
Great. Moving on to item 2, public record. There's no public record, so we'll move on to item 3, the consent calendar. Is there any member of the public who would like to address the consent calendar?
There are no hands.
Thank you. Would any of the commissioners like to pull the item for discussion? I don't see any hands raised. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Lenka. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Yes. Daisy Castro,
Yes.
Lenka Wright,
Yes.
Freddie Sidbury, Freddie,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry.
Andrew,
Yes, present.
Ramon,
Yes.
and Adina,
Yes.
Gloria.
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you.
Great. Next, item 4, reports. Just wanted to announce that we have started public hearings. We have been conducting public hearings in a hybrid fashion so that the public and commissioners can either appear in person or remotely by Zoom. There will be one public hearing on communities of interest at each district. However, any member of the public wishing to speak can do so at any hearing. It does not have to be in their home district. And I want to thank the city clerk's office for facilitating the public hearings in the hybrid format, which has been a little more involved, I think, than they were expecting, making sure to have materials and technology available for those in person, as well as moving the meeting along remotely by Zoom. And I'd like to remind our commissioners that we do need a quorum at our public hearings. So please make sure to have those upcoming hearings on your calendar. And the schedule for upcoming hearings can be found on the city's website for Redistricting 2020. And finally, I wanted to announce that the Census Bureau released census data last week on August 12th. And it's my understanding that we now will wait for the state officials to crunch the data into a more usable format for our purposes. And I look forward to getting more insight from redistricting partners on that front. Moving on, would the clerk like to present a report for us today?
Well, the communities of interest, I think, are going as well as can be expected. We have done outreach on Nextdoor and Facebook. I've sent it out to all the neighborhood organizations. I'm also preparing an email to not an email, but like a general post that will go to everybody I can think of, every community-based organization, as well as every neighborhood organization, as well as all boards and commission members, with a link to the Paul Mitchell, can't think of the word, presentation, the Paul Mitchell presentation. We actually cut it out, made it its own video. So we're going to send people to that, as well as have a link directly to the San Jose Communities of Interest districtr.org page. So if they can't make it to any of the public hearings, they can watch the presentation and do the District R exercise on their own time. So I think that's going to be very, very good for the public, because it's Saturdays in the summer. Not everybody can attend. They've got other things that they're doing. They're going to the beach or whatever. So I think that'll really help with communities of interest participation. And then just a reminder, and we can talk about this on the schedule, we'll have districts. I didn't write it on my calendar on which 2 districts that we have this weekend. I'll have to look.
9 and 10.
Okay, so 9 and 10 are this Saturday. Then we're gonna have a 2-week break, and then we'll do the remaining districts on September 11th and 18th. So that's 3 and 7, 4 and 5. And then we do have to do District 6 again. So I'm thinking if District 6 is the only one for which we lack quorum, I can add it to like 5 p.m. on the 18th, or we could do 10 a.m. on the 25th. either or. So I haven't locked that one down yet. I'm waiting to make sure we have a quorum. We do have to legally have it, even though we did give the presentation and we did receive testimony. It doesn't count as a public hearing because we didn't have a quorum. So as Enadina said, that's very, very important. You can, if we get these all done before the end of September, which we're planning, you can all attend virtually. You will not have to attend in person. That's all I have to say about communities of interest, because everything else I want to say kind of goes into the next topic, the schedule.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tony. Would redistricting partners like to present a report, or should?
They're going to talk,
Okay.
they're here for the schedule. So
Presentation.
we understand what the next steps are.
Okay, great. Then would any members of the public like to address the report section? I don't see any hands. So we can move on to item number 5, public hearing. There's no public hearing tonight. Item 6, old business. So our old business item for discussion is on the communities of interest, public hearings and outreach. And I'll go ahead now and turn it over to our consultant, Redistricting Partners.
I think I just covered our communities of interest.
Okay, got
under
it.
my
So
update.
they're going to come in for the
Meeting schedule.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Okay, I didn't understand. Thanks. So we'll move on to item 7, new business. There's no new business tonight. Item 8, meeting schedule and agenda items. So this next section that we have, we first have our Senior Deputy City Attorney, Mark Vanny, to speak to us. He shared a memorandum. Mark, would you like to discuss the memo?
Okay, can you all hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. So I circulated around to everybody, I believe last week, the materials that went to council this week, detailing the scheduling for redistricting. Now that the results are out, we know what we need to do in order to complete redistricting. And so we recommended to the city council to amend the deadline for the report and recommendations from the redistricting commission to November 18th. That was done in consultation with the clerk's office, as well as the consultant redistricting partners. And the reason for setting that deadline is that the council has sufficient time in order to conduct the public hearings that it is required to under the Fair Maps Act. And the recommendation was done with the intention that council would not have to call any special meetings in order to conduct those hearings, although they certainly can do so. And then the deadline for the council, which it set for itself, would be January 11th to approve the redistricting ordinance, which then goes into effect 31 days later. And now, if everything goes according to plan, will get us in just in time for everything to apply for the June 2022 primary. And all of that was approved last week by the council on consent. And let me know if anybody has any questions, but that's concludes my update.
Hi, this is Tony. I'm going to share the timeline for those of you who didn't see it or weren't looking at it, because I have had a few questions on this particular this schedule. And oh, I just lost it. I clicked off of there. So the public hearing, you're required to have one public hearing before it goes to council. So we'll be doing that. And then the council is required to do 2 public hearings after they get it. So the November 18th is just the first. So the public has an opportunity to speak at council. And looking at how the redistricting was done in the past, we tend to get more comments after the map goes to council. A lot of people don't want to make a comment ahead of time because they don't really understand what they're looking at or what they should be saying. So once it goes to council, people tend to take a deeper look at it, and we should have a lot of public comment at those times. But I wanted to put this on the screen. So if you haven't clicked the link to look at it, you'll know what we're doing. And in order to get that redistricting done by November 18th, it has to be to council by November 5th, which means the last Thursday you could do anything on this is really October 28th. So what we're asking is, we have two things to talk about with public schedule, and Kimmy's here to answer questions about and to kind of go over what all those legal schedules are. But we have to talk about, do we want to hold every Thursday from September 16th through November 4th, in case you guys can't come to a quick consensus? Maybe there's going to be a lot of discussion. Do we want to hold those days to make sure we have something done in time? The other question is, we do have one member who is a teacher, one commission member who's a teacher, and his new schedule of classes he just received is in conflict with this commission. So one option is he could resign. The other one is we'd have to push our commission meetings to start around 7 to 7:30. He gets out of class at 7:15. I don't know if that's something you guys want to do, but it's something you might want to talk about. He is prepared to resign if necessary, and that council member is prepared to make an appointment should he need to resign. So those are the things that I don't know if Kimmy wants to go into detail about the schedule, because she knows it way better than I do. Or at least the legal parts of it.
Yeah, I can review the redistricting, sort of the mapping pieces at least. So I'm just going to go forward unless someone stops me. So the data from the statewide database with the prisoner reallocation population completed should come out. We're anticipating mid to late September. We don't have a firm date on it. The census data, the legacy file, was actually released early by 4 days, but that's early for us. And so we're just waiting on the statewide database at this point. Once the statewide database releases the data, the final data, we do have a 21-day wait period before we can begin any initial mapping. So, however, during that time frame, while we're waiting for the statewide database and also for that 21-day waiting period, the commission can certainly look at community of interest testimony, any public maps that were submitted, all of that data, and to get some ideas of where sort of the pressure points might be in terms of community of interest. We as demographers simply can't map until that 21-day waiting period is over and give you anything. Once that happens, once those 21 days are up, we can give you initial maps, and we can take direction from you in terms of what you'd like to see in initial draft maps. And it does need to be, so there's a couple of ways that we can do this, but generally we like to prioritize the community of interest data that you do receive and any maps that you have received. And so ideally those would be the priority, kind of the starting point, and then we would be moving from there. Once we have draft maps to show the commission, they do need to be published 7 days prior to the meeting. And then I believe and then I don't know exactly how, I need Tony's input here on this one, in terms of how many rounds of mapping the commission wants to go through prior to sending the recommendation to the council, prior to that November deadline. So any public hearing that the commission has, the maps do need to be published 7 days in advance, which is a little bit longer than Brown Act, but it's what's required under fair maps.
Our rules are 7 days ahead anyway.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yeah, we're good there. And that's the question I have for why I wanted to hold all those Thursdays was, I'm not sure how many hearings we'll need to have. So I thought that that could be part of our discussion. I'm thinking you guys want to have a couple meetings at least. So that's the feedback I would like from you guys tonight.
Kimmy, I have a question for you, or maybe this is to Tony. Whenever we do these, have these, any suggestions from the commission for communities of interest to be added to a draft map, is best practice to have each revised map presented to the public, or do these drafts, are they intended for the commissioner's use only?
Any draft maps that are presented to the commission, I believe, become public information. I'm looking at the attorney just in case I'm wrong.
Yes, I mean, if it's a draft, it's still a working draft. It may not be public, but generally speaking, yes, anything that's going to be discussed at a meeting is going to be public information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically any iterations of these maps, we'll probably need an additional meeting potentially between September and the end of October in order to be able to present that to the public or make any changes. Am I understanding that correctly?
So I'm sorry. So are you asking if between the time the data is released and the beginning of October?
Yes, I guess I'm wondering the time frame between drafts. I guess we couldn't make any changes to draft maps without a meeting, right, Tony?
Yes.
So that's part of your question about leaving these Thursdays between September and November open would be to permit time to have a meeting, to hold meetings to discuss any edits or additions to the draft map.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I think my questions were a little confusing. With that, I'll open it up to our commissioners for any questions or comments regarding the schedule. Yes, Link, I see your hand raised. Lenka, hang on, you're muted.
Thank you. I have one comment and a question. First, my comment is regarding the commissioner who has a change in schedule. I would be in favor in starting later at perhaps 7 o'clock to accommodate that commissioner's schedule so that individual can remain on the commission. And I'll be interested to hear the feedback from the rest of the commissioners. Second, my question is regarding historically, how many rounds are there typically as far as with the map development? Granted, it's dependent on how different the data is, where the populations have shifted, but I think it would help us in understanding what amount of time, resources we should anticipate leading into this map drawing process.
Question.
I don't know how many public hearings they had. I'm opening the file now to see if I can get that question for you quickly. I think, and Mark and Kimmy can correct me if I'm wrong, I have written on my calendar that we cannot draw the maps until October 15th. So that would leave October 21st, 28th, and possibly November 4th, if I could turn it around and get it to council within a day. The 21st and 28th, though, would be, I think, the two public hearing dates if we were to have maps and talk about them. I might be wrong.
I can weigh in. I don't recall the specific date. It's dependent on when the data was released and when the state anticipates its allocation to occur. But generally speaking, yes, there is a time in October where we won't be able to release maps, and then we'll be able to go ahead and do that once that date passes.
That's why I want you guys to hold your Thursdays so we can be flexible based on when we get the data fully. And then I think Kimmy, you said 21 days before we can, before we can actually draw maps, like official maps. But it sounds like what you said is we could do sort of unofficial figuring things out.
So the 21 days is to allow community groups and other folks to be able to look at the finalized data and to sort of examine it. So we as demographers can't draw maps during that time, but the council could certainly meet, or the commission could certainly meet and discuss the input that they've received. And if they have particular thoughts around changes in lines and things like that, then that's feedback that we can take in. We just can't map anything prior to the 21 days is over.
Okay.
Freddie, I see your hand is up. Did you have a question or comment?
A question first. How easy would it be for the community to be able to pick up these maps? And if so, where would they go? Would they go on the website for the city, or because I've heard in the other meetings that we've had with the community, some of the community members are still confused as to what we're talking about, because they're not, seem like some of them are just still not aware of what redistricting really is. So, and it also seems like we're going to be crunched for time, because we're still waiting on the state to release information to us. So I'm like Lenka, I'm for, doing what we have to do to make this happen on time. But I'm still somewhat worried that the community won't be able to first understand what they're looking at, and secondly, be able to get their hands on that information to take back to their various community groups or individual homes, if that makes sense. I'm just wondering. That's all.
Oh, sorry, Tony, do you have some comments to address?
Yeah,
Freddie's?
the person on Saturday who raised her hand in person and spoke and said she didn't understand what this was. And I did talk with her in person, after the meeting was over, I had her come over and she sat down with the computer with me, and I talked with her about redistricting is. That's why I think we tend to get a lot of engagement after the maps are drawn, because it's difficult to explain to people. I mean, I personally think we've put the word out there as clear as we can make it on what the communities of interest is and what redistricting is, and that it's something that we have to do every 10 years. Her thing was, well, if it's not broken, why fix it? It's like, well, we have to. It's the law. We have to draw the districts. That's what she didn't understand. Why are you even talking about this? We don't need to redraw districts. And I explained to her, we do legally have to. And so that she understood. She ended up leaving very happy, understood everything, and that was great. I've done some like ask me anythings on Zoom too, but like the last one I did, nobody showed up to it. And that's like, I'm the city clerk. If you have questions about redistricting or charter review or any of these things, please come and I will answer your questions in person. And they just don't always come. And I've done them at various times of the day. I do get some people coming. The last one, I think because it's the summer, people are having fun, especially as last summer, nobody could have fun anywhere. So that is something, that's why I wanted to pull out Paul Mitchell's presentation and try to reach people, explain what redistricting is. And that will go out again via the city's next door, not mine, the city's Facebook. And then I'm sending directly to the community-based organizations so they can get it out to the people they work with, as well as the neighborhood organizations, the council districts, and anybody who sits on a board and commission. Figuring people who are on boards and commissions tend to be volunteers, tend to have a lot of outreach into the community. So that will be going out probably tomorrow.
Thanks, Tony. Andrew, I see your hand.
Yeah, thank you. Just a lot of good discussion, but I just want to kind of circle back to what is actually the question that or questions that we're being asked to weigh in on right now, because I feel like we're getting a little lost. I just want to kind of address specifically Tony's questions so that we can kind of move forward here.
The only decision, there's two parts to this. One is to just let you guys know what the schedule is if you have any questions, so you know that we need to hold those Thursdays. And the second question is, do you want to adjust the start time? On Zoom, the start time isn't that difficult. In October, we will have to meet in person unless the Brown Act gets extended. And from what I understand, the governor's not planning on extending the Brown Act exemption. So starting in October, we do have to meet in person. For some people, meeting in person, 7 o'clock is a better start time because they can get home from work, eat dinner, and then come over here. For some people, the idea of starting at 7 and going till like 10 o'clock at night is late. So that's something I need you guys to discuss. That's the decision. We could keep it as is, or we can move to a 7 o'clock start time. He gets out of class at 7:15, so he would miss the beginning of the meeting, but would be able to join after that.
And how many meetings are we talking about, Tony? I mean, I don't want to be the kind of squeaky wheel here, but I have 3 young children, and 7 o'clock is not ideal for me to be out, including a 2-month-old for my wife. So
of course,
we're going to be in person. I want to understand very clearly what exactly it is I'm signing up for, because 6 o'clock is certainly a better time for me individually.
In-person meetings would be, if we were to hold every Thursday, you're looking at 4 Thursdays in October and potentially November 4th. I hope we don't have to go to November 4th, because that's a 24-hour turnaround to get a memo to council. So we're looking at October 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. You may not need to meet on all of those days, but those are the days I'm asking you to hold.
Okay.
Just in case.
And the meetings in October are going to be basically reserved for public hearing on the draft revisions that we're going to go through before we submit those to council. Is that correct?
Yes, it's going to be on the maps themselves.
Okay. And in reality, we're looking probably at 2 of those 4 weeks for the number of meetings that we're talking about. Is that fair?
I think that's up to you. I think you probably should do at least 2.
Yeah.
You guys might all be in agreement, but you'll need to have at least 2, one to draw the maps and then 1 to have a public hearing.
Okay. So when are we going to decide how many meetings we're going to have? Are we going to do that now, or?
I don't know.
I'm not quite sure. I think I need advice from Kimmy and Mark on that, because I know that it's the data of when we're able to start doing that is if October 15th maybe was worst case scenario, I have that written on my calendar. That would mean the 21st and the 28th would be the 2 days we would do it. But it sounds like we might be able to do it sooner. I don't have a firm, I don't like when things are in flux. I wish they could just say, this is the data's here, you're going to get it at this time, this is when you can start drawing the maps, and then we know.
So my suggestion would be to look at it in terms of sort of iterations of this. So if you're going to hold 1 or 2 meetings prior to a draft map, then you would be able to sort of prioritize any community of interest information or feedback that you've received, as well as develop some ideas around what you might want to see in a draft map if you had any changes. That might take 1 meeting, it might take 2, I don't It's hard, again, it's hard to tell from sitting here. And then I would say you would want at least 2 meetings to go over any draft maps. Because I'm assuming that the first meeting is the first time you'll see them. You may have changes, you may have tweaks to lines, things like that. You may want to elevate one set of maps over another, those kinds of things. So I would say you would need at least 2 meetings in order to get through that.
But they can start that before the data. So like, could they start it in September? Because it would be great to do as much as we can before October, so we can get that done virtually.
Yeah, and I would say you can absolutely do all of the pieces around looking at the input that you've received in community of interest pieces and areas that you might like to see included or excluded in maps, things like that. All of those pieces you can do without us giving you a draft map to look at.
With our last community of interest public hearings on the 18th, if we held a meeting on September 23rd and September 30th to talk about the communities of interest and what do you guys want to keep together. And I think we could do that. That way we could hold it virtually. And then hold the two public hearings in October.
Yeah.
So we're able to officially draw the maps.
Well, for informally voting, I would vote for that.
I do too. I like virtual meetings.
So Tony, do we just wait to decide this, or are we going to make some type of motion? Are we going to make a move on this today or no?
I would like to know about the start time. That's what, he's fully prepared to resign. He knows that it's okay, that whoever we have, if you guys can't move it to 7. So I need to know if 6 o'clock is what you want to stick with, or do you want to move to 7? That I need a decision on. And then I need everybody to confirm that they're going to hold their calendars for September 16th through November 4th. And then we can work on that schedule to schedule the meetings on the 23rd and 30th. We confirm those up and say we're definitely going to meet on the 23rd and 30th to talk about communities of interest in mapping. And if you guys only need 1 meeting to do that, we can always cancel, or a meeting doesn't have to last 2 hours. It can last a half an hour. So I think if we actually plan to have meetings on the 23rd and 30th, that's in addition to your regular one on September 16th. That would be great. And then we'll hold on scheduling the October ones when I get more information from Kimmy and Mark on those, when the maps can actually be drawn.
All right.
So the only action I really need is that start time.
Okay. So do we need to make a motion to maintain the start time or move the start time so that he doesn't have to resign, or how do you want to handle that?
Yeah, if you guys want to vote on that.
Okay. Well, I'll move to go ahead and move the start time to accommodate him.
I second.
Thank you. I'll call the vote. And just to confirm, the start time would be moved to 7 o'clock p.m. exactly.
I do have public speakers on this item.
Okay. Would you like to take the public speakers before we vote?
We should. So the first speaker I have is Paul Soto.
The fact that that's even a question is part of the problem. The entire process by which we are defining democracy in the city is sorely lacking. And what the senora just stated right now is a prime example of that, is the fact that she needs to ask whether or not it is a part of the democratic process as to whether or not a citizen that is going to live under the context in which she is making a decision upon. She is a part of the structure that is going to make a decision that is going to determine the context in which I exist in this city. And she has to ask that question. She is unfit. She is unfit to sit in a decision-making capacity over my life. That is the problem. I'm getting real sick and tired of all of this faux democracy and this faux republicanism because you do not serve the needs of the constituencies that live in the city. Where are the Chicano issues in these conversations? Where is the equity with respect to the historical injustices that Chicanos have had to live with for at least 100 years in this city? And sit there and listen to you every single week. Listen to you. I'm sick of it.
Sorry, next speaker is Tessa Woodmansee.
Oh, thank you so much. 30 seconds, is that all I have is 30? Oh, there it is. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah, well, the thing that bothers me the most, and I hear it all the time, is, oh, I would like it to be virtual. I would like it to be virtual. Yeah, it's a lot easier to be part of our democracy. And on top of it, you know, the issues of how we get to these meetings is never being addressed because, you know, most of you are driving. And this is what we have to stop. We have to stop the driving, stop the burning of fossil fuels. And when you say that our governor is not going to extend that, we need to revolt against that. We need you, you know, as our representatives. And I know all of the people, you know, I just heard it in this meeting. Oh, it'd be nice if it was virtual. Oh my, you know, I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. You know, it's hard to do these meetings. And then you're going to demand that we come into City Hall, and then we have COVID. You know, I mean, this is insane, and we really need you to work on that. And all of us need to contact Governor Newsom to declare. You know, the thing is, we've all declared a climate crisis, and we need to have transformational change. And this is what it is. This is what transformational change looks like. Us working from our homes. You know, to be part of our democracy, to not burn fossil fuels, to get together. You know, we have to start living with our loved ones, and you know, so we don't have to drive and fly to see them. But this is another part of it, is being part of our democracy, and you know, we need that to change, and we need everybody's help to make that so. To write our governor to say, you know, he did it under the crisis of COVID. Well, our crisis now is climate crisis. And, you know, it always was climate crisis. But, you know, this is where we need to really make sure it stays virtual, you know, for so many reasons. And so that is very important that we all do that. And we need everybody.
Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman. I just wanted to quickly offer and remind the importance of open public practices with these meeting processes, and whatever you can do to make the public process open, and how to look for those ways that it can be open. It's important and helpful. And yeah, there's issues with the Charter Commission process that the subcommittee process could be a little bit more open in some ways, and how that can happen. It's important to ask and to look for that, and for however that may apply for this set of meetings and their public meetings. Good luck how we can look for simple things as the minutes process, how that can be recorded and then offered to the everyday public. And it's the little things. So good luck how we can work this fall on such issues, and good luck to our open democratic practices. They're positive, and good luck how we can look for that. Thank you.
Okay, back to the commission.
So I'll take the vote to move our start time going forward to 7 p.m. I'll start with Daisy Castro.
Yes.
Lenka Wright.
Aye.
Sylvia Alvarez.
Yes.
Freddie Sidbury.
Yes.
Andrew Ditlevson.
Yes.
Ramon Martinez.
Yes.
Anadina Cardenas.
Yes.
And Gloria Collins.
No.
That motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, Tony, and so we can discuss the remainder of the scheduling of the hearings at our September 16th meeting?
Yes, I think hopefully by September 16th, we'll have firmer dates on that. So we'll know what we can do for the last two public hearings. And we could also start talking about the communities of interest that you've already received. You won't have gone through districts 4 and 5. Wanted to give an update on 4 and 5. I know for District 5, there was a request to have it at a different location. To move it to a different location, I have to get contracts and insurance exemptions. So we've kept it at the community center. I have made an offer to a school to come talk to a PTA. So if you guys have a neighborhood organization or PTA of a group that you know is underserved, let me know and I can go, I can talk to them. It won't be the formal presentation, but I can go and show them the District R software. So that's an offer that I've made because I know for some people, it just might be helpful to have somebody who can go over it. I can't do every day of the week because I'm in all of the council and council committee meetings, but I can do evenings, most days, an occasional morning. I can also go in via Zoom. So just if you have an underserved group that you don't think we're able to reach with the public hearings, contact me and I'll see what I can do to get out there to them.
Okay, and we can just send you an email with our suggestions. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify and confirm, our next redistricting commission meeting will be by Zoom on September 16th, 2021 at our new time, 7 o'clock, or does that one stay at 6? Okay.
It'll be 7.
Okay. 7 o'clock. And then we have 2 public hearings on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday. We will start on August 21st at 10 a.m. at the Cambrian Community Center for District 9, and then at 2 p.m. at the Almaden Community Center in District 10. Moving on to our next item 9, public comment open forum. This is the time for public comment on items that are not on the agenda. The Brown Act prohibits the commission from discussing any item that's not agendized. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes. If a member of the public wishes to speak, they can raise their hand. Can the clerk please call the speakers?
Paul Soto.
Paul Soto, hijo de los campesinos soy chicano, hijo de los campesinos de Sasipuedes. That's my pedigree. That's where I'm from. In January 6th, 1851, Peter Burnett gave a speech right there at what the Jazz Festival was conducted. All that area, that was the California Legislature building, the first state capital of this country, of this state as a part of the United States. And I quote, Peter Burnett, that the war of extinction against the Indian is with great regret, but it is to be expected and beyond the will or wisdom of man to avert. That is what this charter is predicated upon. The charter is predicated upon the decapitation of Native Americans. And when the Native Americans saw how sick and how sociopathic that the whites were, they escaped to the mountains. And what the whites did is they started digging in the graves. They were ghouls. That's what they called them, ghouls. And they went into the graves. They dug up Mexican heads, presented them to men like Thomas Fallon, presented them to the mayors of San Jose to get $5 per head, 25 cents per scalp. And I will challenge anybody on this council to challenge me on my research. Challenge me, I dare you. I dare you. This is getting sickening. I'm sick and tired of it, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I guarantee you, I will no longer tolerate the disrespect that the Chicanos have experienced in the city. We had pesticides sprayed on us, man, on the east side, man. Doesn't that mean anything to you? We had babies that were born to mothers, stillborn.
Tessa Woodmansey.
Okay. Well, thank you, Paul, for, educating us about our history and what our city charter that, we're all working under for all the work that we're doing, even in the redistricting that you're looking at, and that it's based on a lot of theft and, and I guess I call it evil, immoral, selfish and greedy behavior from our ancestors. And, how are we, right now, with our climate crisis, that say we need the science says we need transformational change that cares about humans and the other earthlings so we don't go extinct. I mean, that is the place we're at now. And so it is really a caring economy that we have to change. And, everything about our, the current political agendas is about keeping on going, business as usual. And so we have a lot of challenges to take, and we really have to, and that's what and Paul is saying, that the lands were stolen from the natives. And that's what I'm asking for too, in terms of climate change, that we need the land back, that kind of redistricting. We need the land back and to change the general plan that supports hotels. That is the type of change we need. We need, like the science says, all open, we shouldn't be building anymore. We shouldn't be building. And we need, we should be degrowing. That's what we have to do, to go to zero fossil fuels, not net zero, zero. And so, and it means that that means the food isn't coming in on 18-wheelers or even in a farmer's market. We have to take the open lands and turn them into the Valley of Heart's Delight again, if we're going to survive and create a hyper-local economy that is based on the ecological.
Blair Beekman.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the meeting today. Thanks for Paul's words. He provides a lot of history of San Jose. And, we're now at a time with things like the Charter Commission process. We are more considering the ideas of equity, reimagine, and actually open democratic practices, which I hope we can start. I hope that term can be more brought into the future words of equity and reimagine. They're doing some interesting work at the Charter Commission process, and I wish some luck. It's hard work to bring about a people's voice and a community voice to a process that it was initially started to invent redevelopment for the mayor, basically, and so the mayor could have a clear path to redevelopment issues. And I think we're trying to say no to that. I hope we can continue those efforts. How that relates to this commission, just thank you that you are you're considering the same issues in this new era of what can be equity, reimagine, and open democratic practices. I think those two things are going to play an important role in the next decade and can actually provide us a lot of hope in this really difficult time we're in of COVID. A quick reminder, once again, that it's my understanding that we possibly may have some serious natural disaster issues in the Bay Area in the next 2 to 5 to 10 years. I'm not positive, but to again warn yourselves about it. Hopefully, you can give yourselves your own thought and direction about how to address such issues. And thank you for the meeting today. Good luck how we can work in the fall with a 7 p.m. schedule. I prefer an earlier schedule, but good luck how we can work with this one. Thank you.
Back to the commission.
Public for their comments. And with that, this meeting of the Redistricting Commission is now adjourned. Thank you and good evening.